historian, Lorraine Santoli.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of people in here. And I'm really happy. And welcome to the 60th anniversary of the Mickey Mouse Club. This was such a special show in its time. It was actually a television phenomenon. It was instantly a hit. And even today, 60 years later, we still remember it fondly. Obviously, all you guys are here. And I'm going to have a good time today with 7 people who are very, very dear friends of mine, 35 years worth. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring out the folks you really want to see. So Mouseketeer roll call. Count off now.
Bobby. Doreen. Tommy. Darlene. Sharon. Sherry. Tommy.
Hey guys. Hey Lorraine. You ready? We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. The first thing we're going to talk about is kind of how the Mickey Mouse Club started. And of course, it made its debut October 3rd, 1955. And in the year prior, Walt Disney and his folks were looking for like sort of regular kids, but you had to know how to sing and dance. Yeah, and so, Bobby, for example, how did you get involved?
Hey, I had a gimmick. It was 1,000 kids auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club. I had to tap dance and sing, which I didn't know how to do, so I made up words that way down yonder in New Orleans. But I had a gimmick. It was the age of rock and roll, so I did a barefoot jazz dance to rock around the clock. And that's how I got my job.
Because you had to sing something, I don't know if it was for Jimmy Dodd.
Yeah. Well, like Lorraine said, you had to be able to sing and dance to be a Mouseketeer, and at the time, I did neither one of them. I was a drummer, and I was playing this little Dixieland band when I was about 7 or 8 years old. My dad was a drummer, and he taught me. And he put together this little Dixieland band, and we would do shows around Los Angeles, little benefit shows. And one of those benefit shows, there were some producers from Disney Studios out in the audience, and they invited me down to audition. So I went down and played a drum solo. Everybody loved that. And then Jimmy popped up behind the desk and said, "Could you sing something?" And I said, I don't know how to sing. And he said, "Well, why don't you just sing Happy Birthday?" So I sang Happy Birthday to You. And they just wanted to see if I could carry a tune. And then they paired me up with Karen, and they loved the way we looked, Cubby and Karen together. So I got the show, basically because Karen and I looked good together.
Still look good. Sharon, you were a dancer. And in fact, when you were very young, your legs were insured for $50,000.
Yes.
So how did you come to the attention of Disney Studios?
Well, I was doing a film with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, and during that time, when you did a song in a film, you had to go to Capitol Records to pre-record the song. And so I was there doing a recording session. Jimmy Dodd was there doing a recording session, and he wrote most of the music and songs that we did on the Mickey Mouse Club. So he saw me there and recommended me to Disney Studios.
And you became a Mouseketeer?
I did. I went and auditioned. I did my jump rope tap dance.
But you got the job.
Yes.
What did you guys think when you saw the costumes you had to wear? Now, we're all familiar with the name shirts and the ears, but at that time, nobody knew what they were. So, Tommy, what was it when you saw you had to wear those ears?
Well, we like to have our hair show.
Right.
We like pompadours. Like at 50s, everybody wore pompadours. And wardrobe wanted us to have the ear coming the ears coming flat like this, no hair showing. And so we said, okay, and then they'd say, roll it, and we'd push them all back, push our hair out, and we'd have these pompadours, and that was basically all of us did.
Except for Cubby, he had a flat top.
Yeah.
And also, hair has been very important to Tommy for his whole life.
That's why I don't turn around, because you can see how bald it is.
Darlene, what about your audition?
Well, I came from a little dance school in San Gabriel, and Disney had sent out, I guess, notices to all these things about send your little turtles, your little kids, to come audition for us. So I came down with 3 other girls, and we did this little farm dance, and then, you know, Jimmy, as usual, said, can any of you sing? And I guess I was so unintimidated, I said, sure, I can. And I sang Davy Crockett. I mean, and I wasn't politically savvy, but it was one of the songs I knew, and I sang Davy Crockett. And Jimmy said to me, little girl, you've got a job. And I went home and told my mother, and she said, eat your supper. She didn't believe me, you know, until they called and said, we want you to go down to Western costume to be fitted for this, you know, this outfit that you're going to wear on the Mickey Mouse Club. And that was it.
You know, the show was so popular, as I said in the beginning, from its inception, from day one. The Nielsen ratings were like skyrocketed. And you guys, who were kind of regular kids, you know, became, I guess, the tween idols, you know, of the time. But you did not recognize that for quite a long time because you were quite isolated at the Disney studio. And you didn't really know for a while what was going on outside. And Sherry, you came in the second year, in 1956. So you joined the show at a time when it was already popular.
Right.
So what was it like for you?
Well, that first year, 1955, I sat on the floor in front of my television with my brother watching the Mickey Mouse Club with my little plastic ears on and saying, oh, I want to be a Mouseketeer, just like every other child in the country did. And my brother and I had done a lot of television and movies and small parts on modeling, things like that. And we got a call from our agent. I should say my brother Roy got the call, and they said they were looking for new Mouseketeers to replace some of the kids from the first year. So my brother went and he played the drums and he tap danced, and they said, Roy, we'd love to have you, but we've already got a drummer who can tap dance, and that was Cubby. So my brother was really sharp at the time, and he said, well, maybe if you can't use me, you'd like to see my little sister, because she can play the trumpet and do a tap dance at the same time. So I went, my mom took me the next day and to Disney Studios, and I played my trumpet and I tap danced at the same time, and I almost knocked out all my teeth, but I got the part.
You know, I would imagine being at the Disney studio as kids must have been a wonderful place to be. And that they made everything comfortable. One of the things they didn't make so comfortable is that your parents were not allowed on the set. I mean, there was no primping and pushing their little kid in there to the front of the line. So Doreen, what you know, how did you see that? In that you had to, you know, be on that set by yourself, and your mother or guardian was not allowed to be there?
Oh, I was glad. I could get away with murder there without my mom. No, in all honesty, the studio couldn't accommodate so many mothers on the set and have so many children at the same time. Logistically, it wouldn't be possible. So the mothers stayed in the theater. They had the Disney Theater right on Mickey Avenue. And the mothers would knit, they'd play cards, and then we would join them after, say, 3 hours of school or 4 hours when we were working on the set. We would join them and then go to lunch, then come back. Our mothers would pat us on our heads and send us on our way, and we'd go back and work again. And it made you, at that age, feel like you were independent, you were grown up, you were responsible, and you didn't have to have adults always telling you what to do.
And our moms became friends, which
the mothers
really
have remained friends all through the
all their
years.
lives.
Mouse Mama.
How did your mom, I mean, take care of several kids?
Yes, well, my mom became guardian for 2 or 3 of the kids throughout the show, because in California then, you had to have a guardian with you.
Yeah.
if you were 18 or 17 or less. At 18, then you became, you know, you didn't need folks around you taking care of you. So my mom looked after Annette for a while, and a couple of other kids. And then when a couple of the kids had, like Don Grady, when he went over to My Three Sons, she took care of him. Then he became 18, and the other two kids, so she took care of those kids too. So I mean, she was a great guardian for a lot of kids.
She was a nice lady, as I recall. Another aspect of the Mickey Mouse Club that was really fabulous at that time, and it was very educational, even though we didn't know as children watching it that we were being educated. And, you know, I always say, doesn't everybody remember how to spell encyclopedia, you know, from Jiminy Cricket? But there were so many educational aspects of the show, and in fact, we're going to look at some clips now that are going to show us some of that. Maybe not.
Just ain't no fish, ain't no perch, ain't no flounder. You flounder for fish, ain't no fish. And although at night you get a messful, other days are less successful. Some days there just ain't no fish. Some days they'll start mighty fine with a thread for a nibble that tugs at your line, mighty fine. But you pull it in and then you've got a beat up shoe that's leaking water. Some days there just ain't no fish. Tomorrow is unpredictable, so it may be sound advice to keep a addictive dish on ice. Holy mackerel, wish for a catch every day, and you're making a wish, because some days there just ain't no fish. Tomorrow is unpredictable, so it may be sound advice to put a dish of extra fish